Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing today? My name is Rabbit, and welcome to episode number 7 of Let's Blindly Play Through Romancing SaGa, Minstrel Song on the PlayStation 2. As I had mentioned to you guys towards the end of our last episode, we are going to be dedicating the entirety of this video to not only finishing up all of the little tutorials that are available to us here by this little brat randomly idling in Melvere, but we also will be making our way upstairs to take a look at all of the books in the library. So this will certainly be a bookworm-oriented episode, and once again, as the warning that I kind of gave to you guys in episode number 6, if you are not interested in me reading all of the things, then you more than likely should just skip this video, because we will not be progressing the narrative whatsoever or looking at anything that really pertains to action or adventuring. We are just going to be diving into a whole bunch of info. So what do you say we kickstart everything by taking a look at what I have highlighted, which is new. So it's a good idea to use proficiencies. I'm not sure if I'm going to gain too much insight from all of these, but I figured since we'll be reading a bunch of information anyway, I'll just knock out everything that hasn't been opened up yet. So using proficiencies, go to the section called Teach Me the Basics. Oh, and when you find the part about proficiencies, I want you to read it out loud 100 times. Okay, this kid has to be trolling now. Some abilities like Find Chests and Mine Ore can only be used in certain locations, but others like Move Silently and Lurk are only usable once you remain motionless for a time. Oh, that's interesting. See, I probably would not have figured that out myself. Still, others like Vigilance and Ambush are usable only when you make contact with the enemy. As you can see, there are lots of abilities. Oh, and don't forget to equip them after you learn them. Alright, we've got it. Moving right along, I guess we can just explain the numbers on the menu. We'll just go through everything. Numbers on the menu. You can view information on things like strength and vitality, vendors, and even the stars that appear in the positions menu. Oh no, I forgot where. Some guy with a guitar said you need to press a button. It sounded like the select button to me. Oh, select. That's what he's referring to. Oh my gosh, how cheeky. Oh well, just try to press as many as you can. Oh, I'm all about that. So I want to see the world. I think we looked at something like this. Seeing the world. Oh, so you seek adventure? That's good. If you're headed to another country, try boarding ships or using the world map. The world map has regional and national maps. You can switch between them by pressing buttons. If you need more destinations, try searching for new comrades. Oh, so more people that you recruit will unlock access to other areas. I suppose that makes sense. We did see when we recruited Gray that a whole bunch of regions were unlocked. Oh goodness, so I guess it does kind of mean you have to eventually be cycling through characters. Oh god, I more than likely will have to be parting ways with my little spirit animals, but as always, we'll just cross that bridge when we get to it. No reason to get bogged down by that quite yet. Sometimes you can travel with people you meet in pubs. If they're from places you've never been, they can provide you with new places to go. If that doesn't work, try talking to as many people as you can. Some people want to ask you for help, but they'll wait until they know they can trust you. Try talking to them again after you grow stronger. That makes sense. So things to do before I go. Preparations. Here's everything in a nutshell. Make sure to purchase spells and proficiencies. Oh, we really didn't look too much at spells, so I might want to revisit the temples upstairs. We'll worry about that later. Equip weapons and the first aid kit. Activate necessary proficiencies. Check your weapons, positions, and classes. Be sure to restore LP at the inn and save your game. That's about it. Once you're ready, get on out there. Okay, so now here's another new menu. I want to team up with others. So meeting new party members. The more the merrier, they say. You'll find more people in pubs, so look for the round pink sign outside. Sometimes you'll run into people where you least expect it. Another good reason to get out and see the world. Makes sense to me. So next, new. Can I add to my first aid kit? Inns have services that let you do that. I've also heard that once you find lots of herbs, you can take them to the apothecary. But for now, try asking at the inn. Now, we haven't really experimented with this yet. We did see that our first aid kit had its max level upgraded, or the max number, I guess, of items within it. I think it was DP specifically, but it was increased as a result of us completing the quest revolving around the innkeeper's daughter. So we'll have to tinker with that a little bit more later on. But for now, the monsters are too tough. So first, check your positions and equip weapons and armor. Try giving the first aid kit to your stronger members so they can help the weaker ones. Work on your strategy. Take out monsters that can heal first and find monsters' weaknesses. Of course, some fights you can't win no matter what you do. It goes without saying that monsters will try their darndest to beat you. Oh, that reminds me. Sometimes the game doesn't end when a boss beats you. If you just can't win, try facing him later. After all, the minstrel told me that desecration is the better part of valor. Even if you can't beat a foe now, you might be able to win later. Ah, words of wisdom. So next, I want to learn powerful techniques. You've got two options then. Raise your level of skill or fight powerful enemies. Oh, that's interesting. You can raise your skill levels by studying under one of those guys with the hood. If they've got a skill you want to unlock, pay them some jewels for tuition. Sometimes you can tell a powerful enemy just by looking at him, and sometimes you can't. Still, try to hold your ground and fight. The path to new techniques will open when the time is right. Oh, and another thing, something neat happens when your skill levels reach level 3. Ooh, we've got some that are on level 2, so maybe I need to prioritize maxing out some things I already know, as opposed to diversifying. I'll have to keep that in mind. I want more money. Yeah, not many monsters carry cash. You can find treasure chests in dungeons, so they're a good place to look. Oh, that's right. You'd better equip the proficiency called Find Chest before heading out. If you ever see a chest is nearby, then use it. You'll be surprised by how much you can find, I'll wager. Okay, I think I have Find Chest, but I didn't have Find Treasure, and that's what the treasure map seemed to imply you needed. And here's a little secret. If you head back to a dungeon you've already cleared, you can use Find Chest to discover some cool stuff. Another way to get cash is to perform quests for rich people. They give some nice rewards. Definitely worth your time. So maybe I do need to go back through the sewers at some point, but certainly not in this video, so I'll entertain that idea later on. Looks like the last thing that's new says, I want to learn more advanced things. Oh, so we've got a couple sub-menus in here. First strikes and melees. Have you ever been in a battle when one side gets first strike? That usually occurs when one side starts battle by approaching from behind. Whichever side gets first strike gains a little more BP than usual as a bonus, so watch out for powerful attacks when the enemy strikes first. Also, when the enemy gets first strike, melees can occur. Y'all, we saw this in, I believe, 2 episodes ago. Was it episode 5 when we completed all of the quests? I got attacked from behind in the sewers, and we saw melee kind of pop up on the screen. So it's nice to see that they are kind of addressing this, because I was curious what that meant. Anyway, letting him continue. So this is when the enemy's position is right up next to yours, so attacks that don't normally strike your middle or rear ranks may suddenly reach. This makes the enemy's attacks stronger, so watch out. When walking around dungeons, try to avoid giving the enemy first strike by facing your enemy right before the battle starts. If that seems like a bit too much for you, try using the proficiency called Vigilance. Okay, good to know. Blacksmithing. You can temper your weapons and armor and change modes at blacksmiths. Oh, so that's how you can shift modes. But I honestly can't recommend it to beginners. It's because weapons, once tempered, no longer recover DP when you stay at an inn. So don't worry about tempering yet. Wow, is he basically calling me a noob? I mean, he's not wrong, but even still. Concoctions. You can have medicine concocted by visiting an apothecary, but like blacksmithing, it's not for budding adventurers like you. Oh, but you can have the apothecary replenish your first aid kit by using herbs you've gathered. That's always handy. Awesome. So the library. You know about the library, right? They've got lots of books there, and you can learn all kinds of things. If you're ever interested, go check it out. Oh, we certainly will be checking it out as soon as we're done talking to you, kid. So looks like the last thing we can look at, new, secrets of treasure maps. So treasure maps. Oh, this is what I think I've been carrying on about. So let's see if he actually helps us understand this. Treasure maps tell you where monsters' treasure is buried. They usually mention the name of the area the treasure's in, so take proficiencies like find chests, and excavate, and go search the place. I get so excited when I see the words, a chest is nearby. So you need find chests and excavate. Okay, that makes sense. I think that's it. Is that all there is? You've had enough for now? I'll teach you more when you're stronger. All right, fantastic. So not too much, a little under 10 minutes just to finish reading all of that. We will head to the library here in just a second, but I need excavate, I think is what he was saying. And this does say for the item details, it's a cave map, and you only need search level 1. But do you really not need the find treasure proficiency? I don't know if that's intentionally misleading and find treasure is synonymous with find chest. I would assume they'd be the same thing, but with a game this vast and open-ended, I'm not certain that is the case. So, you know what? Whatever, it's fine. Let's head to the library. I will make a pit stop before we leave Melvir, certainly, to see if I can unlock Excavate, and we'll see if that switches things up for us. At the very least, we would be unable to really mess around with the treasure map anyway, because I think it specifies that it needs to be done in a cave, and the sewers are certainly not a cave, so we couldn't mess around with it even if we wanted to. But here we are, the Imperial Library, what I have been waiting for. So let's get started, friends. We did take a look at some books, but let's just go through everything. We might have a longer episode, but I think it'll be worth it, at least for me anyway. So first things first, Imperial Geography. So all about islands. Legao Isle? I'm not sure how I want to say that, but I like the way it's spelled. An island located east of Melvir. Large creatures native to the island live there. Molten lava flows constantly from Mount Tomai. Oh, Wayland Isle, a tropical island covered entirely by jungle and dotted with many caves, home to lizard folk and an old temple. Okay, I wonder if those two places are now on my map. Befal Empire East. So Eastern Befal Empire. This region faces the Coral Sea to the east and is home to Melvir, capital of the empire. Melvir is considered one of the oldest cities in all of Mardius. The first city to develop a system of sewers, Melvir reflects the proud heritage of Befal's culture. Let's check out the West. Western Befal Empire, the place powerful aristocrats like to call home. Cities such as Loben and Bruel form the front of the empire's defense against Rosalia. The area is also a focal point for trade on the Inner Sea. Very cool, very cool. Orifont. Southwest of Melvir and east of the Bear Plateau lies the mining town of Orifont. A territory under direct imperial rule, this important place supports the finances of the empire. Woodlands of Befal. It is said that all who enter the thick forest quickly lose their way, hence its nickname Mazewood. Ah, so that's where we're from. Oh, I guess that's it for Imperial Geography. That wasn't too bad to get through. What else do we have here? Imperial History. Ooh, we should definitely learn something here. So Melvir, city of trade. 9 centuries ago, a youth named Melvir came from Wayland Isle and launched a great fleet of merchant vessels. The Befal Empire arose from the profits Melvir earned plying his trade across the Coral Sea. His empire dominated all trade in the Coral Sea and later expanded its borders from the coast of the Inner Sea all the way to Rosalia. Many projects of great civil significance, like the Imperial Library and the sewer system, were constructed during this age. Oh, that's fascinating. Our glorious empire. Oh, it's checked out. What? So will I need to come back to look at this? How bizarre. History of weapons of the world, number 1. The Befal Empire. In the time of the empire's founding, most combat was fought using light, one-handed weapons like cutlasses, rapiers, and knives. Small squads of expert fencers dominated battlefields across the world by employing surprise tactics like quickly eliminating enemy leaders. Oh goodness. Many ages later, an extremely durable alloy called Garal was developed to counter the heavy weapons of fighters from the south. This greatly enhanced the empire's military strength. Now, this form of heavy weaponry is often found in the southern regions of Befal. Oh, pirates. Like the empire in its early days, pirates rely on light one-handed weapons like cutlasses and rapiers. Apparently, these are especially suited for ship-to-ship combat and are effective against the tactics of the Befal Empire. Sometimes they wield the hand axe in battle. It is believed that this was originally a sailing tool that has been modified for use in combat. Okay, that's cool. So history of weapons of the world, number 2. Valhallans. On the opposite extreme of pirate tactics are these warriors. They prefer mighty weapons like the two-handed axe and the two-handed sword. This is because they live in a land where one must cut through thick fur and crush bones to survive. These weapons followed the Valhallans as they migrated north to the Inner Sea. Oh gosh, that sounds like a rough place to be. Later, when Southron, I think it's supposed to say Southern nobles, crossed into Rosalia, they brought these weapons with them. However, by then the Rosalians had perfected cavalry tactics, so heavy weapons such as these were no longer useful. They now remain only as ceremonial articles. Their nobles are educated in two-handed swords, but few would wield them in hand-to-hand combat. Oh, the old kingdom of Estamir. These soldiers were experts in the phalanx. That's weird. Never seen that term before. But their skill in spear fighting never developed greatly. After all, their strength rested in group combat, so duelists and individual masters were shunned. Still, their armorers honed spear making to an art, and their shieldcraft was great indeed. The Kajari. In ancient times, they used weapons mostly for hunting and fishing and knew little in the ways of making war. However, during their skirmishes with the kingdom of Estamir, they quickly learned its tactics. Soon their hordes overran the kingdom and destroyed it. Their typical offensive strategy would first employ archers to sow confusion among enemy ranks, and then finish them with a charge of sword and spear-wielding infantry. Okay, last section for this History of Weapons of the World, Part 3. Northern nomads. Because they ride horses, they have highly developed equestrian swords and light scimitars. Before trade brought them weapons of metal, they mostly wielded bows with arrowheads of bone and horn. Rosalia. In its earliest days, heavy weapons of the southern, maybe it is Southrons, not Southerns. I guess that makes sense if they're talking about a type of peoples. Okay, Southrons it is then, were in wide use, but Rosalians soon mastered the tactics of the nomads from their many battles. The Rosalians developed a school of strategy that combined the flexibility of light cavalry with the sheer power of heavy cavalry. Their infantry is used primarily for defending positions already taken, never for charging the enemy. The Knights of Dominion, or the Knights' Dominion. The Knights continue their studies of weapons, both metal and magical. The sword is the symbol of the knight, but it is never the only weapon at their disposal. So Legao Island, or Isle again. This island's unique culture gave rise to a class of sword unlike any other. Swords of other lands are generally used to thrust and parry. However, the prime use of Legao's sword is to attack by slashing. Many theories attempt to explain this weapon's origin, but none are conclusive. So Wayland Isle yet again. Here the Geklings fish using nets while swimming underwater. Okay, I guess that's it for Imperial history. Next section of the library, Imperial Law. So befall Imperial Law. Preface. Imperial law was formulated to ensure the security and prosperity of the Befall Empire. This is mentioned first because it is necessary for the encouragement of a vibrant culture, competent individuals, and thus a strong nation. Not even His Majesty himself shall issue a command that undermines the security and prosperity of the empire. Henceforth, all citizens of the empire shall be offered equal protection under the law and may pursue their own endeavors with security. Past Serpent Moon 10, 47 AS. In effect, Drake Moon 1, 48 AS. That is so cool, you guys, that they have like their own eras or their own years and ways of sort of tracking time. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So history of Imperial law. No access. I'm guessing it's not checked out, but just that we don't have maybe I say levels in air quotes because we see that levels aren't a thing in this game, but, well, they are when you're talking about skills and proficiencies, but not like actual character-specific levels. But I don't know what I would need to do to open up access to this other than I'm guessing progressing story. Maybe story time or game time? Who knows? Moving along. Founding of the Court. Checked out. What the heck? Proclamation and enforcement. Also checked out. The future of nations under law. I believe that imagining all things that could happen in our nation, codifying them in words, and then judging their good or ill to be an extremely difficult endeavor. Yet, it is necessary to ensure the prosperity and development of our nation. However, I vow to codify as many laws as possible in order to provide for the welfare of all imperial subjects. In my eyes, no calling is nobler. Julius, Eovanus, Kraken Moon, 92 AS. All right, looks like we're done reading Imperial Law. We didn't have access to all of the books that it appeared that we would. But that's okay, because Mythology, our next section, is probably going to be infinitely more fascinating. So temples around the world. Melvir has the Temple of Elor, as well as the Temple of Yucom. The Crystal City has the Temple of Nisa and the Temple of Mursa. South Estamir has the Temple of Yucom, and North Estamir, the Temple of Amut. Oh, I wonder, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's more than 6 different types of magic. Am I incorrect in remembering this? There are a lot of different ones. So I wonder if some of them, I'm thinking the temples correspond to different gods and or goddesses, and the specific gods and or goddesses have elements or magic skills that are tied to them. But they only mentioned a few of them, so maybe others are hidden, or we're in a library that's only going to discuss, I'm guessing and supposing, temples that are in this region as well. That would make the most sense to me, but I guess we'll only find out by continuing to explore. So gods and their worshippers next. Worshippers can be found all across Mardius, but their gods differ depending on the region. Generally, people in areas with temples tend to worship the god of that temple, but some exceptions do exist. Here's a list of major regions and deities. Okay, so I guess I just needed to read along. So Elor, god of light, Befal, Rosalia, and the dry lands. Nisa, mother of earth, Rosalia and the dry lands. Yukom, god of the sea, Befal, Greater Estimir, Coral Sea, and Valhalland. Amut, goddess of love. Maybe they're all goddesses? Oh no, never mind. Cyril is god of the wood, so male. Anyway, Amut, goddess of love, Greater Estimir and Wayland Isle. Ares, goddess of the moon, Mazewood, Valhalland, Frontier, and Wayland Isle. Cyril, god of the wood, Mazewood, and Frontier. Mirsa, god of war, Knight's Dominion, and Saruin, god of destruction, some areas of Wayland Isle, also the sewers of Befal. Many readers are surprised to learn that some people actually worship Saruin. Geklings, for example, seem to believe that it was Saruin who fostered their souls and taught them to walk. That is so bizarre. Gods and vortexes, number 1. Vortexes are combined attacks formulated by strategists of old. They began as troops attacking from formations in the shape of symbols of the gods. However, now most scholars agree that they arrived at their current form, combined attacks in simple geometric shapes, after many years of refinement. These antiquitarian attacks respond to the believer's fervor and unleash explosive power. Even barbarians who disdain cooperation appreciate this element. Okay, gods and vortexes, number 2. According to legend, when the entire Qajar army broke through the enemy's ranks, white horses appeared nearby and cut down the soldiers of Estimir. Of course, this story has probably been embellished through the ages, but its basic aspects are probably rooted in real history. Various tales speak of 3 powerful wizards who vanquished demons that plagued every corner of the Knight's Dominion. Though each story is different, they are all consistent on one detail. When the wizards lined up behind each other and cast spells, strange glyphs appeared around them and entrapped the demons. Interesting. Apparently their formations and actions summoned forth divine powers. Oh, so Amut and the Chalice. Saint Agnes saved Estimir long ago. They say that she never let go of the Chalice of Amut. Love never leaves your side. Even if your chalice loses its power, the oasis of life among sparkling sands shall grant you eternal love. Such is the way of compassion, and such is the way of healing. Gospel of Arletta 2.3. If these words are true, then she must have visited a desert multiple times to replenish the chalice's powers. But it is not clear exactly where this place would be. If this oasis lies in the Kaklim? I don't think we've seen that name reference. Maybe it's another region, I'm guessing? Then St. Agnes must have covered a great distance over her lifetime. Alright, that's it for mythology. I'm loving the lore that's just being presented to us so far. So Ancient Languages, Volume 1, AA through CO. Asona, Amut, the goddess of love, also means compassion. Oh, okay. Nanue, Ares, goddess of beasts and the moon. Her color is silver. What am I going to do with this information? And where are some of the books? There's no 2, there's no 4, no 7 or 8. Odd. Oops, I already read Nanue. So, Tono Sokaese, medallion, a symbol of power and authority. Add 2 to the end to make the plural form. Okay? Volume 5, OA through TO for some reason. Volume 6, TO through RE. Tosamiri, temple or other sacred structure. Volume 9, FO through KA. Itana Te Atage, entrance. Okay.
I can hardly understand these books.
I'm right with ya. I don't know what the purpose of the ancient languages will serve, but I'm glad we took a look at it either way. So Fate Stones. I believe we read some of these, or maybe we did not. Raiders of the Fate Stones, number 1. Our adventure began quite poorly. We'd set out in search of Frosthold Fortress, but we have no idea where to find it. We suspected it was in Valhalland, but we did not know how to reach that distant land. One day, we uncovered a startling rumor that lifted our spirits. Apparently, a Fate Stone lies hidden in Twin Moon Temple. Okay, so Raiders of the Fate Stones, number 2. So, off to Twin Moon Temple we went. We forgot any intention of finding Frosthold Fortress, but soon we were faced with another hardship. We didn't know where to find this Twin Moon Temple. We had but one clue. Apparently, it resembles a pyramid, but none of us could remember seeing anything like that yet in all our journeys. So where they are found, Ruby of Fire is in Weiserheim. Aquamarine is in Crystal Lake. Topaz of Earth is in Kaklim Desert. Moonstone, Twin Moon Temple. Obsidian Sword, Frosthold Fortress. Emerald of Evil is in the Isle of Evil. And others are unknown. So Fascinated with Fate Stones, checked out, of course. And then Powers of the Fate Stones. It is said that the Moonstone, the Fate Stone of Energy, has the power to banish evil and infuse life. We read that one already, I'm pretty sure. So we're done reading about the Fate Stones. Next is items. Okay, so Miner's Handbook, Natural Minerals, Bronze. Source is worldwide. Traits, makes weapons sturdy and durable, yet less powerful. Cannot be mined, relatively inexpensive. Oh, so it increases their durability but lowers their power. Okay. Southern Iron, you can find it in Valhalland. And its traits, it makes up for a small loss of strength by increasing durability a great deal. So seems similar, I guess. Natural Silver, source, Inner Sea coastal regions. Traits, makes weapons sturdy yet slightly less powerful and durable. What? Raises magic defense when used in armor. The minerals listed above are commonly offered at blacksmiths all over the world, so I guess everything is going to come with some sort of pros and cons list to it. Minerals listed below are more precious. Bismuth, traits, gives weapons qualities similar to that of bronze, yet much more effective. Pure Gold, traits, practically useless in weaponsmithing, but adds cosmetic value to accessories. I'm guessing increasing the cost? That would be my thought on that. Electrum, traits, contains several precious metals, significantly increases the sturdiness of weapons and the magic resistance of armor. Copper, traits, makes an extremely durable weapon yet sacrifices strength and sturdiness. Deadstone, traits, all who touch it crumble. This mineral exhibits a tremendously negative effect. Mullock, traits, several varieties exist, each slightly different from the other, though they look identical. This becomes particularly evident when using them to temper weapons. Many unknown minerals exist, and using them when tempering should yield startling discoveries. It has been discovered recently that some minerals are resistant to the spells and attacks of certain monsters. As a result, many believe that blacksmithing is likely to advance in a new direction as unknown materials become documented. That's fascinating. So now we have the Miner's Handbook focusing on alloys. So Legao Steel, origin, Legao Isle. Traits, increases attack power but sacrifices a small amount of durability. Rosalian Steel, origin, the Crystal City. Traits, increases sturdiness without sacrificing other traits. Although it originated in Old Estimir, it is so named because Rosalians refined and popularized the technique. Garal, origin, Brual. Traits, an alloy with greatly increased strength but slightly decreased durability. When used for armor, it features high physical defense, though it is heavy. Some Rosalians' arms feature Garal, a fact I believe to mean that the Rosalians have come to appreciate the superiority of our Befall-made Garal. Verni, origin, Old Kingdom of Estimir. Traits, a superior lightweight alloy that increases attack power and strength while sacrificing a little durability. Increases magic resistance when used in armor. Commonly believed to have been developed in Crystal City, it was actually created by an alchemist named Verni long ago in Estimir. So Musings of a Blacksmith, checked out. Pharmacist Monthly, we read this, but I'm curious to see if they changed it at all. Hello, do you need some medicinals? I'm the Tarmitan Pharmacist Cardin. This month I'll be featuring mixtures with rare effects. In order to concoct some ultra bomb and miracle drug, you'll need high quality herbs. Okay, so this is what we read before, but just for the sake of reading through it again, just to keep everything in the library isolated to one episode, some of the herbs adventurers bring by are quite useful. Next time, try pretending to stuff some in their first aid kit and then just borrow the rest, though it's not really borrowing because you're not going to return it. You see, adventurers can't tell the difference between good herbs and bad. They'll be satisfied with whatever you give them, but watch out for adventurers with an accomplished herbalist among them. They can tell the difference. Simply starting with good ingredients doesn't guarantee quality results. The higher you raise the apothecary level, the greater your chances of a good outcome. That's what they say anyway. Next month, one of Melvir's most famous residents, Vak, or Vake, will discuss an amazing kind of medicine. I can't wait to hear all about it. Okay, time for me to move along. Till next time, and treasure chests made easy. Treasure chests can be rigged with many different types of traps. Some simply explode when you open them, some emit a loud sound when you open them, some release a sticky slime when you open them, and others deliver a monstrous surprise. We read that one before as well. So we're done reading about items. Next is Skills and classes. Secrets of stealth. I hear that when you become an expert, you can disappear and then reappear behind your opponent to gain the initiative. Charging the enemy may be easier, but the other method gives a greater chance of surprising your foe. Actually, as a quick aside, I think one of the enemies in the sewers of Melvir executed that first paragraph spell, or how it's described, where they were on one side of the hallway and then they appeared behind me. So I guess it's something that we can also unlock at some point. Historically, all the greatest rogues of infamy were masters of this secret technique. In addition, they possessed the skills of regular thieves and were experts in small weapons and bartering with others. A martial arts master, 23 AS, born the child of an officer in the Rosalian infantry, 40 AS, taught of his father, he becomes an officer himself, 51 AS. While serving the king, he loses his father, decides to leave the army to travel, 53 AS, marries a traveling entertainer, learns the secrets of stealth, 75 AS. After visiting every corner of the world, he finally earns the title of martial artist. 80 AS. He perfects his skills and achieves mastery of the martial arts. He establishes his own academy in the outskirts of Melvir. In martial arts, it is more advantageous to gain a broad range of knowledge than to achieve perfection in only one discipline. These are profound words that can only be spoken by one who has learned the hard way, through experience. I wonder if that's a pro tip, that sort of casting your nets widely will somehow fulfill the adventure and the needs of others when you are taking quests on more than if you specialize in one thing. I'm just trying to think of what that's implying, but I guess we'll have plenty of time to muse about it. So basic spellcasting is next. We should first begin with a discussion of the 10 established schools of magic and how to choose from among them. They are pyrology and hydrology, aerology and terrology, illusions and demonology, cosmology and sorcery, and bewitchery and necromancy. No one can cast spells of opposite schools simultaneously. They rob each other of power, resulting in nothingness. Okay. That makes sense. For example, if you know the spell Hellfire and decide to study hydrology, the powers of Hellfire will slip through your fingers. If you aspire to become a mighty sorcerer, heed these words. First, learn at least 6 of the 10 schools of magic and obtain a staff that amplifies their power. Then you must study rigorously in their use. This will require an immense amount of time and effort, but if you persevere, the day may come when you can call yourself a sorcerer. Oh my goodness, so it seems like spellcasting kind of has its own set of mechanics that will be pretty far-reaching and wide. Oh goodness gracious. So Geklings and walls. After hiding their valuables, Geklings are known to mark the walls of the surrounding area. With a little awareness and skill, one can detect these changes and discover any traps they may have laid. I don't know what a Gekling is. I'd like to have that defined for me, please. According to their logs, pirates who often dealt with the Geklings began to adopt these techniques and hid their own treasure in this fashion. Oh, I wonder if Geklings are a race of people? Making your own battle strategy. The sky's the limit for you, jumping and climbing within your reach. Making your own battle strategy. Spring issue, attempting to scale Mount Scurv. Note, proceeds for seasonal issues of making your own battle strategy go to help adventurers worldwide. So Neos, the world-famous mountain climber, cast his eyes upwards. He sighed as he uttered, "I was cocky and so very young." You see, when he was young, he mustered a party of climbers to scale Mount Scurv, but Noel, their only expert climber, collapsed from his many injuries, and so the party could climb no further. I don't even remember how we got ourselves back to the safety of town. When we came to, we were all bunked down at an inn. After that dangerous episode, Neos practiced climbing with great fervor and went on to successfully scale numerous peaks. Still, he never attempted to conquer Mount Scurv. Now, at long last, he seeks to challenge the ultimate climber's goal. Next issue, exploring the hollows of Legao Isle, the strange harvest festival of Uso, How I Got Out of Mazewood, cover price 380 gold, available at newsstands everywhere. Oh gosh, that's so silly, but so cool. So we're done reading about that. Looks like this could be our last section, if not second to last. And it is the children's section, probably the most fun. The soul. What happens when we die? Perhaps the soul leaves the body and joins other departed souls. If so, death must be a very busy god. Perhaps some souls are light and others heavy. Maybe the heavy ones sink? If they do, how far down do the heaviest go? The axe that slew a god. And so, in his foolishness, the man challenged the god to battle. He hoped he would live to tell about it. Everyone thought it would be over in a flash. It was, but not in the way they expected. When the man swung his great red axe, it changed its very shape, and before they could blink, the god was cut to pieces. The axes of the heroes. Long ago, a terrible demon plagued the world with its malice. So the people chose 7 from among them who would venture out and vanquish the demon. The 7 mightiest warriors were chosen, and they defeated it. Soon, they became known throughout the world as heroes. But the heroes became too powerful. They began to attack their own kind. They each carried a blue axe so mighty that nothing survived its wake. The axe that swallows life. In ancient times, in a land far away, there was a dark presence bent on destroying everything. One day, it thought a terrifying thought. All I have to do is block out the sun, then every living thing will die. Once it began to carry out its sinister plan, it soon lost interest. So instead, it channeled its destructive force to a different end. It poured itself into an axe to make it so deadly that it could end the life of anyone's, save one. Who's the one? The battle among the gods. In ages past, when the world was young, there lived 3 gods of evil: Death, the eldest, Sarween, the middle child, and Shirak, their sister. Oh, I wonder if this is the tale that the minstrel ended up sharing with us. Together, the 3 of them led a horde of monsters against an alliance of gods and their mortal children. The forces met in a furious battle. In the end, Death and Shirak finally yielded to the power of Elor and the gods, but Sarween alone chose to continue his struggle. In order to contain the threat of Sarween, Elor created stones of 10 different powers and gave them to a hero of the people's choosing. They chose the warrior Mirsa, who fulfilled his mission and imprisoned Sarween. He lost his life in that climactic battle, yet the name of Mirsa and the story of the stones live on in legends still told. I think that is exactly the story as told to us by the minstrel, but that's cool that you have the opportunity to just read about it here in the library if you so choose. So I am done reading. Oh, there is one more section of the library, and then we're done. Combat reference. So what do we have here? The wonders of ecology. All creatures must eat in order to survive. This, of course, also applies to monsters. For example, insects eat plants, fish survive on plankton and other creatures still unknown, and birds eat both insects and fish. Beastmen may seem to occupy the pinnacle of the food chain, but some are devoured by simple beasts. These same beasts are known to fall prey to poisonous insects and attacks from unknown and undead monsters. In addition to insects, plants have many other natural enemies like undead, demons, and herbivorous beastmen. Furthermore, the corpses and excrement of birds and beasts become food for plants. Therefore, should an entire family of creatures disappear from an area, some creatures would lose their natural predators. They will then sit atop the food chain and their numbers will greatly increase. This clearly demonstrates the existence of a delicate balance in nature. Not only a tale for this game, but also the real world, everyone. So be mindful of the things that you do for the sake of the planet. Types of monsters, number 1. Recent experiments show monsters can be divided into 2 large groups. Those that rely on sight, like beastmen, beasts, avians, undead, and reptiles. Number 2. Those that rely on hearing, like plants, insects, aquatics, and demons. However, some monsters, like slime, seem to possess some other way of detecting prey. Okay, I wonder what they do. Their behavior will be studied in greater depth in future expeditions. By the way, dinosaurs that inhabit Lago Isle perceive primarily by sight, and there we have confirmed the existence of fascinating creatures. I will touch upon that topic at a later date. So types of monsters 2, I suppose, is where he continues. The most interesting behavior can be observed among the great dinosaurs of Lago Isle. Ordinarily, the creatures are placid, but if a mother spots an intruder near her eggs, maternal instincts emerge violently. She can reach amazing speeds when her progeny are threatened. Dinosaur mothers are relentless in their pursuit once they begin chase. If you are ever in this situation, all you can do is drop the eggs and run for your life. Though, with a little caution, you can drastically reduce the likelihood of such a scenario. Winning strategies is next. Discretion may be the better part of valor, but it is wise to keep a quality weapon as well as a disposable one, especially ones with different attack power. Keep the weapon whose techniques do not wear it out as your weak one. Oh my gosh, that sentence is throwing me off. Keep the weapon whose techniques do not wear it out as your weak one. I'm guessing it's saying, it's referring to DP. So I'm guessing what it's implying is it's good to have 2 weapons. One that maybe does whittle away at the durability of the weapon and is more powerful, but another one that you can use for longer and you don't need to make as many trips back to a town. I'm guessing that's what that sentence is referencing. But just moving on, the weapon whose techniques do wear it out is the strong one. Then use the weak one for common foes and save the strong one for battles that you absolutely must win. Of course, tempering should be reserved for one's finest weapon. Okay, the true enemy. The battle begins with the mind. Giving up on anything invites defeat. Face adversity head on with all you have. Excerpted from Flogg's Strategies, chapter on hegemony. I don't know what that is, but I'm done reading about combat reference. And I think that's it, friends. That is the entire Melvir library. Oh my goodness. And here we are sitting on 40 minutes. So I will not keep you for a minute longer. Thank you so much for those of you who did decide to join me for this information glut of an episode. I personally enjoyed being able to look more deeply into the history and the lore that kind of revolves around Romancing SaGa Minstrel Song, and I hope you can say the same. So take care, be good, and I, your host Rabbit, greatly look forward to meeting up with you guys in episode number 8, where we will kind of figure out what we want to do, whether that's going back down into the Melvir sewers, or if we want to take a boat ride to see if we can unlock new areas, or just explore some of the surrounding towns here on this island or whatever this little land is. So we'll figure that out in just a moment, but until then, be kind everyone, and I look forward to seeing you in just a second.